On October 29th of 2018. I was at the time working full-time at a flooring company in Lancaster. I had recently gotten really like settled financially. I had just moved out into my own new apartment. And for the last 4 months, I was on my own. Things were going great. I was getting a sense of independence, and I felt like I was continuing forward to what God had for me. I felt like everything was going great and stuff. So I ended up going to a wedding up in New York. It was a lot of fun. One of my friends got married. On my way back from the wedding, I felt incredibly tired. I guess it was from all the dancing at the wedding and stuff. So just felt incredibly tired. My eyes kept going in and out. And I had to stop a couple times. I stopped for half an hour twice at a rest stop and slept and got back on the road. And I was blaring music. The last thing I remember was I was blaring music, and things were super loud in the car. I was singing along to keep myself awake. I had about 2 or 3 hours left in the drive. And the next thing you know it, I opened my eyes and there was a tractor trailer, 18-wheeler, about 5 feet or so in front of me. And I had about half a second to respond to that situation. So I swerved a little bit over to the right, and I ended up hitting the side of the tractor trailer head on. And I was fully conscious for this entire thing, this entire encounter. So I hit the back of the tractor trailer. I remember spinning around a couple times, landed on the side in a ditch, and I was like, what in the world just happened? My car was completely, the airbag had deployed. My car was completely trashed. Stuff from the trunk had come flying up to the front seat. I didn't know where my phone was. There was glass everywhere and it smelled nasty. It was hot. It was just a real nightmare. I remember crying and trying to figure out what in the world just happened. It's 1:30 in the morning. It's pitch black outside. I'm up in between. I'm in New Jersey, like 6 miles from the Pennsylvania border on Interstate 78. And there is nobody on the road. And I was pretty much just trapped. So I tried to kind of maneuver myself, but I realized I couldn't really push off of my left leg. And I was like, this is a little odd. So I remember reaching down into my leg, and to spare you all the gory details, let's just say I wasn't touching the top of my skin per se. I was feeling a lot of other things that most people probably don't want to feel. So I had this feeling, I'm like, oh man, something's wrong with my leg or my foot. And I'm like, am I gonna walk again? I had no idea of the severity of the situation. Turns out I end up having a broken femur, hence why I was in so much pain. And I'm just sitting there. I remember at the moment of impact, everything in life just comes flashing before my eyes. So I think about my family, I think about my friends, I think about the kids I coach at school, the kids that I work with at church and youth group, and just everything just floods. All these emotions come of like, wow, this could be the end. So I'm sitting there, they start taking apart their car, they saw off the top part of the car, and they slowly drag me out, and I just remember being in so much pain. So we're riding in the ambulance, we're going like 100 miles an hour. The lady in the ambulance, I'm like, man, I hope my leg's not broken. And the lady's like, oh honey, your leg's broken, don't worry. So they roll me into the ER, they pricked me with a whole bunch of needles, a bunch of tubes and IVs or whatever. So they stick an 11-inch metal rod in my leg to fix everything. Then I'm at the hospital for 5 more days, and that's just a disaster because I'm in pain, I can't sleep, I'm hot, I can't walk. They get me doing physical therapy, and every little movement, barely a step, is incredibly painful. And I just remember sitting there thinking, like, what in the world has just happened? Like, life was going so great. Jobs were going great. I thought I was following the Lord. I was doing things at church. I was helping out at Connect. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is this happening to me? Why might I never even walk normally again? I'm going to have a permanent limp for the rest of my life. I remember sitting there in the car crying, and I'm like, why me, God? Why did you allow this to happen to me? I thought I was following you. I thought I was doing what you wanted me to do.